Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get real about hunting at true altitude. I am talking about that unforgiving, lungs-burning, steep-angle backcountry terrain where the oxygen gets scarce, and gravity suddenly feels like it hates you personally. If you have ever humped a fully loaded pack above the timberline, you already know that every single ounce of gear is a tax you pay in blood and sweat, and the margin for error up there? It is razor thin. Any seasoned backcountry hunter will tell you straight up, not all chamberings are meant to live in the alpine. Here we are in 2025, and it is time to face some hard truths about our weapon systems. There are certain cartridges out there that have developed a notorious track record. Rounds that will absolutely break your heart right when that trophy bull steps into your crosshairs. Maybe they just do not have the kinetic energy to punch through thick hide and bone across a windy canyon. Maybe the rifle platform itself turns into an immovable brick when the mercury drops below zero. Or maybe you are just fighting the raw, unforgiving laws of physics. Today, I am walking you through 5 specific calibers that serious mountain hunters are actively avoiding. These are the rounds getting left behind in the climate-controlled gun safe, instead of riding shotgun up the mountain. Should you still bet your tag and your hunt on them, or should you treat them like a cracked brass casing and toss them in the scrap bucket? Let's dig into the top 5 calibers you simply cannot trust for high-elevation hunting in 2025. And from my own experience behind the glass, I will break down exactly why. Number 5. The .338 Lapua Magnum. Coming in at number 5, the .338 Lapua Magnum. Right off the bat, I can hear the keyboard warriors typing furiously. Yes, this is an absolute powerhouse of a long-range cartridge. It has earned a legendary pedigree among elite military snipers and extreme long-range competitors. But for the guy or gal climbing rugged sheep country, let me give you a serious reality check. This beast was born in Finland, engineered by Lapua, alongside Seiko and Accuracy International back in the late 1980s. They essentially took a massive .416 Rigby case and heavily reinforced it to withstand absolutely terrifying chamber pressures. Let's look at the raw data. You are sending an 8.6mm warhead downrange. The case length alone sits at a massive 2.72 inches, with a staggering overall length of 3.68 inches. We are talking massive bullet weights, usually hovering right between 250 and 300 grains. Out of the muzzle, you are looking at speeds from 2,900 to 3,050 feet per second. That equates to a bone-crushing 5,000 foot-pounds of kinetic energy, and it stays incredibly lethal well past the 1,500-meter mark. It is no wonder specialized military units all over the globe run this for anti-personnel and anti-materiel missions. If you absolutely have to smash a target in the next zip code, this is your huckleberry. On a hunt, it will anchor a massive bull elk, a Yukon moose, or a grizzly bear like they just got struck by a freight train. The ballistic coefficient is off the charts. It retains momentum flawlessly, and it completely ignores crosswinds that would blow a lesser bullet off the map. So why do mountain hunters leave it at home? It all comes down to the brutal payload you have to physically carry. The weapon systems built to handle this cartridge, like the Accuracy International (AXMC) or the Barrett (MRAD), are incredibly overbuilt. You are looking at lugging 12 to 20 pounds of steel and chassis up a vertical rock face. Trust me, that gets old before you even leave the trailhead. Add in the shoulder-dislocating recoil, and the fact that premium hunting ammunition costs as much as a truck payment, and the tactical shine wears off real quick. Fun fact for the history buffs out there. Back in 2009, a British sniper named Craig Harrison secured a world record impact at 2,475 meters using this exact cartridge. It is an undeniable titan. But dragging that much artillery into the thin air is a rookie mistake. Number 4. The 4570 Government. Moving on to number 4. The legendary 4570 Government. This old warhorse was drafted by the United States military way back in 1873. The original recipe was designated the 4570-405, which translated directly to a .45 caliber projectile, sitting on top of 70 grains of black powder, pushing a massive 405-grain chunk of lead. Old-timers used to call it Big Medicine, or simply the Thumper. It was the heartbeat of the old Springfield trapdoor rifles. Yet here we are, more than a century and a half later, and it remains one of the most capable big-bore options available today, especially if you love running a fast cycling lever action. Here are the hard specs you are dealing with. You are launching a massive 458 diameter bullet out of a rimmed, straight-walled brass case. Projectile weights start around 250 grains and climb all the way past the 500 grain mark when it comes to raw knockdown power inside of 150 yards. The 4570 hits like a cement truck with no brakes. It has dropped every species of dangerous game on the North American continent, from massive roaming bison and coastal brown bears to giant bull moose. When you stoke it with modern high-pressure loads from outfits like Buffalo Bore, it is an absolute sledgehammer. It is the ultimate brush gun because that heavy, blunt-nosed bullet plows straight through dense vegetation without deflecting off course. But here is where the trust issues start at high altitude. The exterior ballistics are terrible for open country. The 4570 flies like a thrown brick. It has a rainbow trajectory that drops aggressively the second it passes 200 yards. If you spot a trophy ram across a jagged alpine canyon at 300 yards, you would literally have to aim at the moon just to drop that bullet into the vitals. Furthermore, those modern Magnum-level loads generate a recoil impulse that will rattle your teeth loose. And while it completely dominates the thick timber, it is completely out of its element in wide-open alpine basins. People love running this in a Marlin 1895, a Henry all-weather, or a classic Ruger No. 1. It truly is the hammer of the gods up close. But if that mountain goat is standing a quarter-mile away, you might as well be holding a sharp stick. Number 3. The 243 Winchester. Hitting the number 3 spot, the 243 Winchester. This is arguably one of the most widely used and recognizable deer cartridges in the country, famous for its lightning speed and virtually non-existent recoil impulse. But does it really have what it takes for a high-consequence mountain hunt? Hitting the civilian market back in 1955, this cartridge is essentially just a .308 Winchester case that has been strategically necked down to seat a sleek 6mm projectile. It was primarily engineered as a dual-purpose round for varmint eradication and medium-sized game. The dimensions are very straightforward. A 243 diameter bullet, tucked into an overall length of 2.71 inches. You will typically see hunters running bullet weights between 55 and 105 grains, and the muzzle velocities are absolutely screaming. We are talking pushing up to 3,300 feet per second right out of the barrel. What is it actually good for? With ultralight projectiles, it is an absolute nightmare for coyotes and prairie dogs. Step up to the heavier 100-grain options, and it becomes an incredibly effective tool for harvesting whitetail and mule deer. Precision rifle shooters adore this chambering because it flies incredibly flat, punches tight groups, and allows you to easily spot your own impacts through the glass. It is often the very first centerfire rifle handed to a young hunter or a recoil-sensitive shooter. But here is the dark side, and the exact reason why backcountry hunters look the other way. It seriously lacks the deep-driving terminal performance needed for massive, heavy-boned game. If you are miles deep in the backcountry, trying to anchor a 600-pound bull elk in its tracks, a 243 simply might not deliver the necessary penetration unless your shot placement is absolutely surgical. Then you have to factor in the environment. Those high mountain ridges are notorious for shifting, unpredictable crosswinds, and those lightweight 6mm pills get blown drastically off course compared to a heavy .30 caliber slug. Finally, we have to talk about barrel throat erosion. Because it pushes so much fire through such a tiny aperture, it is notorious for burning out barrels prematurely. You will see it chambered in workhorse rifles like the Remington Model 700, the Savage Axis, and the Tikka T3X. It is a phenomenal, highly versatile cartridge for hunting the plains or the foothills. But when I am facing unpredictable winds and giant alpine game, I am leaving the 243 secured in the truck. Number 2. the 300 Remington Ultra Magnum. Sliding into the number 2 position, the 300 Remington Ultra Magnum. Brought to life by Big Green back in 1999, this cartridge was specifically engineered to totally dominate the entire .30 caliber family. It is built around a massive, non-belted, rebated rim case that takes its DNA directly from the old 404 Jeffrey. The internal powder capacity is gargantuan, dwarfing even the universally respected 300 Winchester Magnum. It utilizes a standard .308 diameter bullet, but the engine behind it is monstrous. You are shoving heavy projectiles weighing between 150 and 220 grains at absolute warp speed. Imagine launching a 150 grain pill at a blistering 3,200 feet per second, generating well over 4,000 foot-pounds of destructive energy at the muzzle. The high points are obvious to any ballistic nerd. It delivers earth-shattering kinetic energy, maintains a laser-straight trajectory, and retains enough lethal force to drop big game cleanly way out past the 400-yard line. So why do serious mountain hunters shy away from it? Because shooting it under pressure feels like getting into a minor car crash. The felt recoil is incredibly punishing on the shooter. Unless you are lugging around a heavy-profile rifle tipped with a highly aggressive muzzle brake. It is exceptionally difficult to maintain proper shooting fundamentals when your heart rate is spiking and your lungs are burning. It also suffers from severe overbore, meaning that massive powder charge acts like a literal blowtorch on the throat of your rifling. You will shoot out a barrel much faster than you ever would with standard magnums. Furthermore, finding factory ammunition is like looking for a needle in a haystack, and when you do actually find it on a shelf, be prepared to completely empty your wallet. It is a high-performance hot rod. But hot rods are notoriously temperamental when you drag them miles away from civilization. Number 1. The 25-06 Remington. And finally, the number 1 caliber that high country hunters are losing faith in today, the 25-06 Remington. A lot of newer shooters get confused by the nomenclature, but this is the quintessential American quarter bore. The 25-06 started its life as a wildcat cartridge, renowned by handloaders for its blazing speed and extremely flat trajectory. To build it, they literally took a standard .30-06 Springfield case and squeezed the neck down to accept a .257 diameter bullet. Let's look at the mechanical blueprint. The parent case is the iconic .30-06. The bullet measures exactly .257 in diameter. When you load it up with a 120 grain projectile, you are looking at muzzle velocities hovering right around the 3,000 feet per second mark. Drop down to lighter varmint bullets, and it absolutely screams past 3,200 feet per second. Historically, it has been an exceptional choice for harvesting whitetail, pronghorn antelope, and coyotes at extended ranges. And yes, plenty of guys have successfully taken elk with premium, heavy-for-caliber bullets. The benefits are hard to argue against. You get spectacular velocity, minimal bullet drop over long hunting distances, and the recoil impulse is incredibly manageable compared to the big .30 caliber magnums. It is an undisputed killer on medium-sized, thin-skinned game, but let me tell you exactly why it falls short in the steep mountains. To get all that slow-burning powder to ignite properly, you absolutely need a long barrel. We are talking 24 to 26 inches minimum. When you strap a rifle that long to your pack, it becomes incredibly cumbersome, snagging on every single low-hanging branch and rock outcropping you hike past. Just like the Ultramag, it is also an overbore cartridge, which means barrel life is going to be significantly shorter than its .30-06 parent. But the real absolute deal breaker? Terminal performance on heavy game. If you are investing thousands of dollars and burning precious vacation days to hunt giant mountain elk or Shiraz moose, most seasoned guides are going to demand you bring a bullet much heavier than 120 grains. And the standard twist rates in a 25-06 simply cannot stabilize those heavy, high BC projectiles. It just does not have the payload capacity for the true mountain heavyweights. All right, there you have it, folks. 5 incredibly famous cartridges that have absolutely earned their place in firearms history, but might just leave you empty-handed when you step off the grid and into the high country. Every tool has its designated purpose, but you have to pick the right tool for the job. Now I want to hear from you. Would you ever trust a 45-70 government on a high alpine sheep hunt? Or are you crazy enough to drag a massive 338 Lapua Magnum up a 12,000-foot peak? Jump down into the comments right now and let me know exactly what your ultimate mountain rifle setup looks like. I read every single one of them, and I love seeing what weapon systems you guys are running in the field. If you found this breakdown valuable and want to see more tactical, no-nonsense firearms content, do me a favor and smash that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. And as always, stay safe, keep your powder dry, and keep training.